super late. But do the real work here. And soccer's a game where it's not as coach-centric, it's player-centric. And if we do the job here, we prepare the players to make those decisions, and thank goodness they did. Absolutely, and I think it, more than that, Bill, it just shows that St. Louis is the place that it should happen. I mean, there's nowhere in this country where you have a building like that and a facility like this right next to each other. With the backdrop of the arch and the downtown buildings, it's non-existent. We're the only place in this country that has that. And so, you know, I'm newly from here, okay? But I also appreciate the history. You know, I've played with so many guys, and had so many coaches from here that I've learned so much from. I just think it's amazing that as a club, our ownership group has invested in these kind of properties, specifically in the location that we've done it, and now to be able to kind of bring our fans and pay a little bit of homage to all the history that the city has produced on the soccer side. It's amazing. I'm just pinching myself. I'm getting goosebumps because it's so nice, you know, and it wasn't long, but we have endured training all over this beautiful city. I mean, I was trying to count last night. I think we've trained in 6 or 7 different places, and now we have one permanent home that we know we're going to show up here every morning, and the resources and the things we have in that building from a sports science standpoint are amazing. And you know, this is the first week as we're now trying to build into this final stretch of a season where it's important for us to go out and get results, both with our performance, but to ensure that potentially we play more games in that building. Like, it's wonderful to have all of these things. As being a player back in the day where, you know, just the stories, and you know them, Bill, like it's not even, you can't compare. And I was part of an MLS club that was, you know, in Philly from the ground up. We were building something, but you know, I was there for 5.5 years, and we literally didn't have our own training facility. You know, it's usually a long time for these things to happen, and here we are before we ever kick off in the MLS, and we're going to play our City 2 team in our stadium, and we have our training facility. I mean, it's unprecedented, really, and it just shows all of the growth that this country has had in this sport, which is amazing. No, yeah, I'm pissed about the 3 quite candidly. It's not what we want to be, you know. So it's tough to have that post-game speech where you're saying congratulations, but this wasn't good enough, and it's kind of good because we get to then balance it, right? And we get come back on the next training day and say we got to push to be better defensively and work on our principles again. We've been a good team defensively, but when you're in that position, you certainly don't want to give up goals the way we did against Portland.
The game was closer than what the score says, for sure, right?
Yeah, and it was, you know, we were talking about it when we're doing our match review. It could have ended up 7-5, you know. It also could have ended up just a tight game, but for some reason on that day, the back of the net was being shook a little too much, and you know, that's not what we want to see from our end, for sure. Houston's undefeated in their last 9, so we are playing a team that, I'll give you an example. Like, Portland was a good team. They put out some first-team guys. They were going for it, and they played well. I think now we're facing a team that's a little different than Portland. Portland hadn't found a way to win those games. Houston finds a way to not get beaten in 9. That's pretty impressive. You know, they have 9 shutouts on the year. I think that's close to leading the league. At least it's 2 more than us. So we have a very tough opponent, away trip again. You know, this never-ending road trip here at the end of the season. Thank goodness we only have 1 flight to get there, and we don't have to go 4 hours west. That'll be a blessing. Sounds crazy, but we're looking forward to that. But it's going to be a tough game, and there's a lot on the line because this is one of those 6-pointers again. And we have the extra motivation. If we do what we think we're capable of doing, we could ensure we play 2 games in that building instead of just 1.
Is there now a lower limit for yellow cards for you now that you've had 1 suspension? If you get Because with players, once you
Yeah,
get...
I think I'm kind of. This is a good license. You're bringing this up. We have 3 games left, and if I get 3 yellow cards in the last 3 games, the good news is that they don't carry over to the playoffs. But to be fair, I don't want to deal with this fine anymore. Okay, my wife is already pissed at me, so I need to make sure that whatever I did in San Jose, I don't do again. Which I told you I couldn't figure out in the first place. Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things that I learned early on. Like, again, as a coach, there's only so many things I can help create. One of them, the most important one, is that players are competing against each other every day. And that is, from my standpoint, more important than what I say and how I do it. If I set them up in a position where they compete, the game's a much better teacher than I am, and they get to go after it. I just have to kind of facilitate that and manage it so they don't kill each other. And these guys, to their credit, they play extremely hard, and it makes all of them better. I mean, I've been through that building a bunch, and every time I'm amazed at what now it continually becomes. But the biggest part for me is that grass is green and that it's flat as can be and that the lines are white, and you know, when I turn around, like, it's just amazing. And I think that's going to be a special part, because I mean, I don't think there's a bad spot in that whole building. It should be fun.